Hiya crafters, Amy here, and today I'm going to watercolor with a stencil. So here I'm showing you these Dr. P.H. Martins. These are liquid watercolors and I just got them for Christmas and I'm taking them on their maiden voyage right before your very eyes. Never used them before. So here is a beautiful older stencil from A Colorful Life Designs that I'm going to be watercoloring through, and I have some watercolor paper from Arteza, and I did use pixie spray on this stencil. So I'm using my brayer to push it down, and with as easily as it popped up on the top there, it should have tipped me off that I didn't have enough pixie spray on it. So you'll see what I mean a little bit later on in the video, but make sure you have that mama coated really good. Like maybe a couple applications of the pixie spray if you're going to introduce something like liquid watercolor or shimmer powders where you're using a lot of water. Make sure you have it adhered down really well with the pixie spray. It is a temporary fixative. It won't hurt your paper, but you definitely need to have enough of it to hold it down for this type of technique. So I'm going to be using 3 colors here. I just basically have a red, yellow, and blue. And if you saw that little extra hand come from the top right corner, that was my sweet daughter getting me a mason jar full of water, because I've literally never used these before. I've used re-inkers to watercolor with, but I've never used an actual liquid watercolor. These have been on my wish list for quite a while, so I was really excited to get it for Christmas. But I honestly, guys, I have no idea what I'm doing here. I'm literally playing. So I have this 1 inch wide flat watercolor brush, and I'm just kind of laying down these 3 basic colors and letting them overlap to create more like a rainbow look. So I'm trying to get in the little details and the little nooks and crannies on the bird, but it's not really ideal with this thick flat brush. So if you have like a smaller size watercolor brush, it'd probably be easier to kind of get in those little detailed bits, but I was making it work. And like I said, I was literally just playing, trying them out for the first time. So I moved down to the blue, and I realized already that the yellow, I've already pretty much made it an orange. So as I'm thinking about it in the future, I'll probably start with the yellow and then just blend out from either edge, just because yellow's always it's always the one to get buried in the shuffle, right? Do you guys experience that when you're making a rainbow? It's so easy for the yellow to be taken over. So I come in with the blue and get some, pretty green color where that overlaps with the yellow. I'm just working down, and I have no idea if this is going to work. I'm just kind of layering up the colors, making it more vibrant. My lighting is not the greatest in my craft room, but this is very vibrant and pretty. And then I decide I want to kind of create the purple from the top rather than the bottom. So I'm adding a little bit of the blue on top of the red, which the red really looks like a pink when all said and done, even though it was labeled a red. So, but I don't mind. I like pink and rainbows, so it works for me. But anyway, I decided to lift it up. I really thought it wasn't going to work because I could see in that top left, I could see where some had already crept up underneath the stencil, and I thought, oh man, this is going to be another fail video. I thought for sure, but you got to play, right? It's just paper. But I was pleasantly surprised that look at that detail on those birds. So if I would have just done a better job coating with pixie spray, like added that extra spray and really kind of stuck it down, I really think those little spots that got messed up, it would have worked great. So this is another option for you to use your stencils. They're super fun to watercolor with. I also just got that new Wow embossing tool. It has two heat levels. It has a lower heat and a higher heat. So I use the lower heat just to kind of speed along the drying process. Normally with watercolor, I like to leave it be, but I did want to dry it up a little bit because I didn't want to lose any of that detail. If there were any little puddles, I didn't want them to kind of go over in the details of the stencil. And here I didn't want to waste what I had left over, but I ended up putting more out because I was having fun playing. But I had a couple other little A2 size sheets of this watercolor paper, and I decided to use the side with tooth, the side with the texture on these, just because I think it's really pretty, and I love that watercolor paper texture when it comes through. So I'm kind of just making a rainbow here again, just playing, just kind of getting a feel for these liquid watercolors, because they do they do behave a little differently than, you know, like pan watercolors and stuff. So I'm just playing in real time, making a rainbow. And the other one I kind of started with the purple on the top. This one I decided to just only do the purple on the bottom. So this one I brought some of the red back on the bottom, and then I have this extra water on here. I'm kind of sopping it up with the messy little paper towel I have off to the right. And then stick around here. I'm just going to turn this panel into a card a moment. I have this oval stacked die set from Hero Arts, and I use the biggest oval in that set to kind of cut out the main birds on there. And I have some adhesive backed foam sheets. These are from Doris, and I'll link them in the video description box below with all the other products that I use. But these are super handy because you can use the same size die cut and then get nice even dimension on the back of your panel. So you already have adhesive on the back of it. You just add some liquid glue and add your panel to it, and then the back basically becomes a sticker. So really super easy to use. And then if you look at it from the side, it has that pretty yellow color which matches the yellow in the paint. So it's really gorgeous. I just put some liquid glue on here. I'm just going to line it up right on this big glorified foam sticker that I've created. And I have some little, you know, weighted little weights that I'm using with my acrylic blocks just to kind of hold it down here and let it dry a little bit. And then I'm going to get some sentiments. These are Tailored Expression sentiments. I'll show you the finished card in a little bit, but I didn't want to waste the extra piece of panel that I had with the gorgeous pigment on it, so I cut a little strip for the inside of the card. This just gives it a little something extra, maybe a little surprise when you open the card. So I'm just going to liquid glue that down as well. And this is an A2 size card base of 110 pound cardstock. And I have the panel with the foam, so it's kind of popped up with dimension. I'm just going to remove that backer and attach that right to this card base, if I can get it to hold down. And it gives it that nice even dimension. So it's a lot easier for shipping. It's not going to kind of sag in spots because it's covering the exact portion that your panel is. So that's a neat little trick if you get those foam sheets, just to create its own little perfectly aligned adhesive backer. So here's the sentiment strips. I picked a couple of them. These are white heat embossed on black cardstock. I picked one for the outside and one for the inside of the card. And I didn't want to add more dimension just because that oval panel is popped up. So I just liquid glued that down to the front of it and then liquid glued the other one on the inside of the card. Here I'm showing you the panels. They're pretty much dry at this point. You can see that gorgeous texture. So I'll probably maybe die cut this one. It's got that cool blooming on it, and then, you know, make another card out of the other one with that as the background. So here's the finished card. I just glued down the sentiments and added some pretty iridescent blingage to the front in odd numbers. Just liquid glued that down, and then have the sentiment and that pretty little accent piece on the bottom on the inside. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please hit the thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. And have you used liquid watercolors with your cards before? Do you like it? And do you have any tips for me? So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you next time. Thanks. Bye.